Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Did you guys watch the CNN town hall last night with Kamala Harris? Now, I almost feel bad for her. I don't, because she's evil, but I almost feel bad for her and her campaign because they're in this position where they see that they're sinking in real time. Like, they're watching her crash and burn. And typically when your polling is down, when your numbers are down, which all the rumors are that the internal polls are horrible, much worse than we're seeing. And so when your numbers are down, typically you're like, well, we got to get our candidate out more. We got to get them in front of people more. We have to get the public to see them more. But you can't do that with this one because she's so bad on camera. She's so bad when answering questions. Like, what do? You're like, well, we got to get her out in front of people. Well, we can't get her out in front of people because when she's out in front of people, she sucks and she's retarded. So what do we do? I don't know. So I guess they're just kind of like, well, I guess we'll just brace ourselves for impact and continue parading her out in front of people and hope that maybe with CNN, they'll run some coverage for us, right? So with this CNN town hall, I would say we didn't really get many answers. We did hear a lot of lies, a lot of hypocrisies, and I would say she kind of explained to Anderson Cooper why she's kind of retarded and watch.
Well, I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes.
Right. That is why she can't answer a question. It's because she's a nerd. She's kind of a nerd, and she needs to go read about the policies. It's just that you've been in office, ma'am, for 4 years, and you're supposed to be second in command. So you probably should have a good handle on what your answer would be about these policies that you supposedly have already been navigating. Stephen, am I asking for too much?
No, of course not.
It seems to be, I'm like, maybe I'm the dumb one, because it seems to me that you would have already had answers to these questions because A, you're already in office, and B, you're running for president right now. Like, now's the time. The research should have been done, I would obviously longer than 4 years ago, but let's pretend that you weren't already in office. The research should have been done a year ago, 2 years ago. Oh, but that's right. We just realized that Joe Biden just suddenly became dementia ridden. It hadn't been creeping up on us for the last couple of years. So she had no idea that she'd get thrown into this, I guess. So right away, Kamala was asked how her administration would deviate from Biden's. Because remember, at first, she was like, I would not change a thing about what Joe Biden and I did. And that didn't pull too well for her. And then she started kind of backtracking. So we have this flip-flopping there. And so I want to play this exchange with Anderson Cooper. Really, honestly, you got to give him credit. He did interrupt her filibustering to ask another question there. Watch.
I bring a whole set of different experiences to this job and the way I think about it than Joe Biden.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years. You were vice president, not the president. But why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done. And I'm not going to shy away from saying, hey, these are still problems that we need to fix.
But why wouldn't you fix them right now? Like, she literally was tweeting about this earlier today. And I quote tweeted it, and I was like, Kamala, ma'am, are you aware that you're in office literally right now? It doesn't seem like it. She said, as president, I will lower the cost of groceries by taking on corporate price gouging. I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. Well, I'd like to see where she did it before, but what do you mean you're going to do it? Just do it right now. If you see a problem and you have the solution, why would you not do it literally right now? She may not realize that she's second in command. She does seem to be, in her defense, extremely retarded. Case in point, I want to play her being asked about her weaknesses. Watch.
What weaknesses do you bring to the table, and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe.
Okay.
Well, I am certainly not perfect. So let's start there.
Okay.
And I think that Perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process different perspectives. My team will tell you, I am constantly saying, let's kick the tire on that. Let's kick the tires on it. So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because
that's good.
I'm going to want to research.
No, that's good. Some might say, Stephen, my weakness is that I like to have a team of smart people around me. Is that not Michael Scott from The Office?
Yes, exactly him.
Have you ever, who, some might say, do you know anyone alive who would say it's a weakness to surround yourself with smart people and think things through? I don't know a single person who would say that that's a weakness.
Not one that's not retarded.
And therein lies the problem, Stephen. Oh, therein lies the problem. Not just for her, but for America. So let's go through some of these lies and hypocrisies that she spewed. And I know she's been spewing them for over 4 years now, but we're in the home stretch and they really need to be... We need to make sure to show the American people as often as possible, now that we have early voting that is open in most, if not all states, and the election day around the corner, how much of a nasty liar Kamala Harris is. But she's desperate, right? So she's going to lie and she's going to come up with dig into the bag of tricks. What are you going to call Republicans? Oh, they're racist. They're homophobic. They're transphobic. They're all the things, right? So here is, of course, lie number 1 from Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is literally a fascist. Watch.
He who has openly admired dictators said he would be a dictator on day one.
It was a joke.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said he is a fascist to the core.
Oh.
You've quoted General Milley calling Donald Trump a fascist. You yourself have not used that word to describe him. Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
He's like literally Hitler. He's such a fascist. He said that he was going to be a dictator on day one. It was a joke, Kamala. We watched it. It was a joke. By the way, he already had a day one. Where was the fascisty part? Because you guys are in office now. If he was such a fascist, he'd still be there, right? So I want you to listen. Speaking of fascists, I want you to listen to what Kamala said about free speech on social media at an NAACP speech in North Carolina. Watch.
And will put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms, because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Oh, okay. So let's get this straight. Trump is the fascist. Okay, I want to see if I have this right. Trump is the fascist somehow. They can't really point to how. They just claim that he says mean things and Orange Man bad. And when he gets in office, boy, he's never been in office before. So you don't really know what he's going to do. But when he gets in office, he's going to be super fascisty. Meanwhile, they're literally imprisoning people who are exercising their First Amendment, praying outside of abortion clinics. They're literally imprisoning people who were not even present on January 6th. They're trying to imprison her top political opponent right now with 91 indictments. They are literally, Joe Biden the other day saying, lock him up. They are trying to imprison their political opponents. But trust me, bro, Donald Trump's the fascist. Come on. Yeah, It's a symptom of retardation. So let's go through another lie. Okay. Donald Trump, not only is he a fascist, and I know you guys know this. Okay. I know you know it, but Donald Trump, not only Kamala wants you to think he's a fascist, he also is a threat to the Constitution. Now she cares about it, I guess. Watch.
The former Vice President of the United States, Dick Cheney, is voting for me.
That's
Over
not
400
That's not a good endorsement.
members
Kamala.
of previous members of the administration, from Ronald Reagan to both Presidents Bush to Donald Trump, even, have endorsed my candidacy. And the reason why,
Wait, did she just say
among
Ronald
them,
Reagan
is
endorsed
a
her candidacy?
legitimate fear based on Donald Trump's words and actions that he will not obey an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. He himself has said he would terminate the Constitution of the United States and wants to earn your
is
vote
so
to
exhausting.
stand again behind the seal of the President of the United States.
Oh, this
No
one she's
one.
repeated a bunch.
Standing behind the seal of the President of the United States of America
Yeah, he's done that before.
should be in that position saying they want to terminate the Constitution of the United States.
Hey, Stephen, Donald Trump was president, right? Do you recall him terminating the Constitution of the United States?
I don't think so, but he's not dictator day one yet. So
That's but he did have a day one,
oh, that's right.
right? And then he had a day two, and then he had like many days after that. And if I was good at math, I'd be able to count how many days that actually was. I don't know, but it's a lot of days, is my point. And in all those days, no termination of the Constitution. And in fact, he has, of course, defended the First Amendment rights against big tech, against legacy media, government censorship. He is, if you care about the Second Amendment, he is the Second Amendment candidate on the ballot. I realize there have been some comments that he's made that has not been like super Second Amendment, but he is the Second Amendment supporter on the ballot. Kamala literally wants to confiscate your guns. Show me one time where Donald Trump has said that. She literally wants to take your guns. There are multiple videos of her saying that she wants to confiscate assault weapons. What is an assault weapon? She still doesn't know, but she wants to take it. Okay. Donald Trump appointed Supreme Court justices who have they are constitutionalists. They have preserved this Constitution. They haven't talked about terminating it, especially with Roe versus Wade. You have a right to life in this country. It is very, very clearly written in the founding documents. Donald Trump has done nothing but strengthen the Constitution. We don't need to find out on day one. We already saw it. We already have a record of it. You know who else we have a record of? Kamala Harris. It's so cute that she wants to talk about the Constitution. And I'm wondering, did she finally find her copy of it and dust it off? All the dust that was on it from it sitting on the shelf all these years? She didn't give a crap about it until, now all of a sudden Donald Trump hates the Constitution and I'm your candidate for the Constitution. Okay. All right. So one of my favorite lies here is Kamala Harris talking about, I'm not perfect, but I'm a parent. Who doesn't make mistakes? Come on. Don't you guys, all the parents out here, can't you relate? Watch.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues. And I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Now, I want to be clear. I respect people who take on someone else's child. Okay. I was raised by my stepdad. He is now my adopted dad. And he did raise me from a very young age. And so I'm not meaning to be dismissive of people who do that, it is one of the kindest thing that you can do. But Kamala became a stepmother to Doug Emhoff's 2 children at 15 and 20. I wouldn't call that raising children, okay? So how extremely offensive to those of us who have actually raised children. By the way, to step-parents who have actually entered these children's lives at very young ages and actually raised them. And she's just like, we're all parents, right? Come on, you know what it's like raising children. You don't, Kamala. You're just a total fake and a fraud. How offensive to people who have actually done that. But maybe the most offensive lie that she gave last night, which I know there were a lot, was Kamala telling you that she actually secured the border. You may not have realized it. She actually secured the border. Watch.
I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country.
Wait,
Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall.
No, you can answer the
So
question.
remember Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come
So
on,
funny.
they didn't.
Okay.
How much of that wall
Neither
did he
did you.
build? I think the last number I
You
saw was
blocked
about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know
Yeah.
where he did it?
Tell us.
In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill
Because
that would
you guys
earmark
blocked it.
$650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border.
It
Yes,
doesn't
I
do
am.
that, but it
And
does
I'm
not do
going to
that.
work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it.
Oh, really?
And that's the point that I think is the most
All
important
of a
point that can be
sudden-
made, which is we need a president who is
Tell us.
grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing.
Oh,
let's just fix it.
my
Why is there any ideological
gosh.
perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill.
You
It
could
does call
close
for
the border
$650 million
right now.
that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So
Anderson.
you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about
But
that
you just said it was a good
We just
idea.
talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
Okay.
I
So
want to strengthen our border.
I guess because Donald Trump wasn't the construction worker going over there and actually physically building the wall that they in Congress blocked over and over, they wouldn't approve the money that he wanted. They wouldn't, but it was Donald Trump's fault, right? It was also apparently Donald Trump's fault, Orange Man bad, that there have been over 10 million illegal immigrants who have entered during the Biden-Harris regime. Now, that's the number that they give us, which you could probably safely double. I'm going to go more closer to 15 or 20 million illegal immigrants while she sits there and tells you that she has worked to make sure that the border is secure and there are no criminals coming over. Lake and Riley's family would beg to differ, that there are no terrorists coming over, even though we've seen the reports from DHS that there are actually many terrorists who have come over. No, don't believe your lying eyes, guys. Kamala's the border czar. She's got it taken care of, all right? Just egregious. Absolutely disgusting. All right, when we come back, let's look at the legacy media reaction to the town hall. Are they still simping for Kamala? Or have they finally wisened up? Are they bailing? Are they jumping ship? Let's find out. First, we want to thank our sponsors, Birch Gold. So, look, we've got an election coming up and there's a lot of instability. There's going to be a lot more instability if Kamala gets in office. But here's the thing. Regardless of who becomes president, we've still got $35 trillion of national debt. And I'm just going to tell you guys, things are not great right now. What you can do right now to protect your savings, you can diversify into gold with the help of Birch Gold Group. Gold for like millennia. Just historically, gold has stood firm in the face of, its great hedge against inflation, greedy governments, economic upheavals, and, just particularly global strife. And so if you haven't yet talked to them, go talk to them. They can help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. It's going to be tax-free, penalty-free. It's not going to cost you a penny out of pocket. Let them explain to you how they're going to do it. Learn more about gold by texting the word Sarah to 989898. All they're going to do is send you a free information kit. There's no obligation, so there's no reason not to do it. Be informed, all right? Text the word Sarah to 989898. Welcome to the show. Jaco Booyens, BlazeTV contributor and host of The Bottom Line, along with Pat Gray, host of Pat Gray Unleashed, which you can find right here on BlazeTV or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure that you check it out. It's been a long time since you've been here, Pat.
Been a while, yeah.
I've missed you.
Yeah. Oh, and likewise.
Really?
Yes.
That's last time.
Yeah.
It was probably with me on the show.
I know. I was happy to have the two of you back together again.
The last couple of weeks, I've actually wept.
Really?
Openly. I've broken down and wept as a man.
You could have just called
loud.
me and I would have.
And you would have had me on?
Yeah.
Was it out loud weeping?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like on the
like
bathroom
a 3-year-old
floor.
girl.
So it's authentic.
Yeah.
It's good to know you miss me as much as I miss you. I'm just going to pretend like that was real.
No, it was.
So I just got done playing some clips from Kamala's town hall, and clearly it went disastrous for her because she is incapable of sounding like a normal human being with actual brain cells to rub together. And I want to play the reaction, get y'all's take on the reaction by CNN. It was Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, David Axelrod, of course, former senior advisor to Obama. And I want to play, because I said before the break, I'm like, are they going to pretend like this was good, or are they going to finally be like, she's really bad? Well, here's what happened.
She focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do as president.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe. But that's maybe the world that she's living in.
What standard is that?
The question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more, but what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one.
The things that would concern me is when she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
I think Republicans would take another hour of Kamala Harris. We'd just press play, let her keep going. We'd pay for another hour to let her keep, let her keep not answering the questions.
Wow.
Yes.
I think Anderson's asking her, well, why haven't you done it? You've been there for 4 years. Why have you done any of this? And the word salad answer she gave to that was just mind-boggling. I mean, it's blown up the internet, her answer to that question.
They've decided they can no longer hide it anymore. I'm here for it.
What is this signal?
Touchdown.
Touchdown, baby.
Touchdown.
I mean, look, hey, it's shocking. Like, it's undeniably shocking. Like, after the debate Joe Biden did, right? What do you mean? He's got cognitive ability. Oh, snap. Jump ship.
Right.
Right.
The same deal.
Unfolding.
Yeah.
That's CNN.
Right. Well, I know,
That's CNN.
And to your point, they all, just like with Joe Biden's cognitive decline, they all knew who Kamala Harris was. That's why they all decided they didn't like her in 2020. These are the same people who knew how bad she was 4 years ago, who were like, all right, we're in this. We're pretending. Okay, we can't pretend anymore. She's really bad.
Yeah. Well, when you start messing with the media's ability to report stories, that's when they get pissed off, and that's when they turn on you. And they can't get her to answer any questions. Yes. And I think it's really pissing them off. I mean, Anderson Cooper asked that question about why haven't you done it the last 4 years? Like 4 or 5 times. He really tried to pin her down. It was something to watch him try to hold her feet to the fire, because she just won't answer a question. She can't. She's got no good answers.
The answer they wanted, Pat, was like, Joe didn't, but I will. I didn't have the authority.
Which would make some sense, right?
Some sense, you would think, but she's like, she can't. That proves they cannot think for themselves. They're not allowed to break rank. that's rank and file.
But I think even if she was allowed to think for herself, she just can't.
Yeah.
She is incapable of it.
Look, they hid Joe.
Yeah.
He never campaigned, remember?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hide her. And I think the decision of putting her out in the public was the death of that campaign.
It's a bad decision.
But what
they
else
should have
do you
kept
do?
trying to hide her.
Yes.
You think they would have gone away?
80 days between
They could have
legitimate
hidden
interviews?
it, yeah.
It should have been 180 because she's just incapable. She's really bad. She doesn't have a track record. She's not smart. She can't talk her way out of anything. You know, look at the difference between her and, for instance, J.D. Vance.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that guy takes a beating everywhere he goes and handles it so well that he beats him right back. It's just, it's fun to watch with him. And, you know, Trump doesn't care what people say about him. He'll go right back in your face. Yeah. But she's not capable. She's incapable of doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's so telling of the whole sector of society that actually legitimately does follow her, the Hollywood and in that whole. They have zero core conviction. When a person is convicted about something, there comes a moment where they dig in, and they respond, and they pivot well and they defend. Mm-hmm. There's no core convictions in these people. So if it's not scripted, if I'm not told what to say, it falls apart. It becomes word salad because she's not convicted about anything.
Well, there's one thing she's convicted on, and that's murdering babies.
100%.
She is in love with that.
She can talk
defend
about
that, and she can talk about that eloquently.
Yeah, she really can.
It's the one issue she can handle.
Which says a lot about her.
It really does.
None of it good.
Yep.
So let's contrast that a little bit with the ladies over on The View, who I guess are going to go down with the ship. This is their reaction to an undecided voter asking for we just need the candidates to stop trashing each other. Here's what the View said about that.
So apparently there's an undecided voters clip that we want you to see. Take a look.
Thing that is very much a turnoff, and this is with both candidates. Stop trashing each other. We don't care. Stop trashing Trump. Trump, stop trashing the vice president. We don't care. The voters don't care. We don't even know the people they're talking about, that this person said this and that. How does that impact the voters? That's who you're talking to. That's who you're serving. This feels like high school gossip. We don't care. We don't want to hear it.
She was referring to
the audience likes it.
The fascism when she said this person.
Yeah, but Trump is the one who started calling people names. Kamala did not. The Democrats didn't start with that. Way back when we were watching the primaries, Little Marco and Crooked Hillary.
Oh,
he started the name calling.
Right. Because that's the same as calling someone a fascist, right? That's the same as saying someone is a fascist and will literally terminate the Constitution on day one, which is what she said.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing, Pat.
I mean, it used to be inappropriate, I thought, to compare people to Hitler, to compare people to Nazis. They do it every day, all day, and it's perfectly fine, even after 2 assassination attempts on this man's life. And they still won't stop that kind of rhetoric, that he's a danger to democracy, which, who cares? We're not a democracy. So go ahead and be a danger to
Please
it.
be.
Please.
He can't say anything like Sarah Palin with targeting a district that would get him drummed out of society. Yeah. But they're fine with it. They're fine.
Yeah, Jaco.
Yeah, look.
Last word.
I mean, I can't remember when last Whoopi and Joy Behar's voice carried 1 ounce of weight in society.
Isn't it hard to believe, though, that show is still on?
It is.
Well, it's underwritten at a tremendous loss. We know that now. So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's underwritten at a loss.
Makes me feel a little better.
So they don't have a job. If they were to do what Anderson did and go, what the heck, answer the question, they're replaceable. They know that. I mean, so it's a laughing stock. It's a joke, but it's gonna be fun when he's president.
I hope so.
To watch him.
I hope so.
You know, when you watch a worm squirm.
Yeah.
Watch.
Whenever you cut them in half.
Watch.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Honestly, whoever at the end of this can go scoreboard is probably going to have a lot of fun. The difference is we will be laughing at them squawking on The View, and they will be putting us in camps. So there's the difference. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back with more. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Relief Factor. So Relief Factor is there for those of you who, you may live in pain. You think that's your life now. You got knee pain, back pain, whatever the case may be. We have literally everyone at this table actually has used Relief Factor, and it has worked for us. Your mom uses it.
I do.
You've used it.
I use it now.
You use it now. I use it. Pat, I don't know if you're currently using it, but I know you, what do you have, an elbow problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, just all of a sudden, and he couldn't even lift a coffee cup.
Right.
Yeah, and then
It
how
helped
long?
A lot for that.
How long did it take?
Maybe they usually say 3 weeks.
Yeah,
but I think
yeah.
it took like a week.
For you.
Yeah.
It was a couple days for
Yeah, it
you
was
too,
fast.
right?
3 days. 3 days. Because it's
Crazy.
inflammation, right?
Right.
Inflammation is the enemy of the body.
Yep.
No matter what they tell you, it is, and it gets rid of
Yeah,
inflammation.
you get rid of inflammation and your pain goes away. So if you have this pain, whether it's constant or it's just nagging at you, wouldn't life be so much better without it? Go to relieffactor.com, get the 3-week quick start. It's $19.95. They've got a guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose except your pain. Go get it, relieffactor.com. So we're watching Kamala implode in real time, right? And while that's happening, we're playing this media reaction. They're like, but Trump started it, but Trump called people names first, but Trump is a fascist and a misogynist and all of these mean, bad things. But I would say there's actually a real threat, especially when it comes to women in DC. A few weeks ago, we talked about the allegations against Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, but now his victim is actually speaking out publicly. The woman, she referred to herself as Jane in the Daily Mail. She said, "What's frightening for a woman that's been on the other end of it is watching this completely fabricated persona being portrayed. He's being held out to be the antithesis of who he actually is, and that is utterly shocking. He flew me to Los Angeles in April 2012. I stayed in his home for a week. The entire time he was alluding to marriage and having children with me." And then she told the Daily Mail of the night he slapped her. She said she was leaving an event in France that she attended with him. Doug got out of the line, comes up, turns me around by my right shoulder. I'm completely caught off guard. I'm not bracing. I'm in 4-inch heels, wearing a full-length gown, and it's between 2 to 3 a.m. He slaps me so hard, I spin around, and I'm in utter shock. There had been no fight, no argument. It had been a completely fantastic event. I'm so furious. The only thing I could think to do was slap him back. I slapped him on one side and on the other cheek with the other hand. In that moment, his mask had dropped, and I saw his dark side. Now, I understand an allegation is an allegation. However, I'd like to say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And Donald Trump and Brett Kavanaugh and every single Republican has been accused by people of all sorts of things. And they took them very seriously with far less credibility than what we're reading right here, which is a woman who initially was a little bit concerned to come out and share her story and then said, I'm actually going to. So we should give this the same credibility that the left constantly gives every single accusation against any Republican man. And I'm just going to say, why won't the left stand up for women?
They never do.
Sure don't.
They never do. They ask you, what is a woman?
That's a great point.
They tell you Pete Buttigieg can breastfeed and lactate. That's what they tell you. They tell you women have no role in society because they believe in generational cleansing and genocide. They believe in attacking anything that doesn't speak like they speak. It should be given fuel. It's an allegation.
Sure.
But then let's investigate publicly. Brett Kavanaugh's children had to get protection. Or how they went after his children. This man was put to the ringer publicly. It wasn't behind closed doors. It wasn't Ghislaine Maxwell style. Nobody can see. It was what they did to Kyle Rittenhouse. Let the whole world see. Brett Kavanaugh on trial. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go investigate. Tell us more. Where were you? Who saw anything? Let's turn the cameras on. They're not going to do it. No. They don't care. I had someone on my show today, a woman who survived breast cancer, and she's coming to talk about real women's healthcare rights and how abortion is not women's healthcare rights. And because she had breast cancer that medical insurance didn't pay for, and how many black women don't have medical insurance and they die from breast cancer because they can't afford a biopsy. Do you see the left, Kamala Harris, talking about real women's healthcare? Come on.
No, but they're offering free abortions outside
killing
of the
people.
DNC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened to all women deserve to be believed?
Right?
They certainly don't subscribe to that anymore.
Early Me Too movement, right?
Yeah. And, you know, we saw Donald Trump go through the most ridiculous accusation of rape from a woman who didn't even know what year it happened. It was 94, 95, 96. Really, if you were raped, do you think you'd remember at least the year?
I would hope
Not
so.
the day, the hour, and the minute?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the same woman who finds rape sexy.
Yes, right.
Right. Most people find rape sexy, she said.
And I mean, the details of her story were all preposterous. That it happened at Barney's, was it? Was it Barney's?
Bergendorf. Bergdorf Goodman. Yeah.
You know, where they lock all their dressing rooms, but somehow Trump had a key, I guess, and just moseyed into it and just raped her there while the employees, were folding clothes. I don't know what happened. But we can't even look into this. They won't even entertain it. They won't even talk about it, her allegation. And it deserves to be looked at because he's presenting himself like he's this incredible feminist and he's all about women. And of course, the Democrats don't really want anything to do with women, which is why they allow men in women's sports and don't follow up on things like this.
Yeah.
Look how sorry, Sarah, but look how fast we blew. It's Paul, right? Paul Pelosi. Look how fast we blew through that story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guy in his underwear, another guy. It's like, oh, make this go away real quick. You know, you never get to dig in when it's on that side of the aisle. But when it's on this side, it's public when the camera's on.
Yeah. Well, I want to play, interestingly, what Doug Emhoff said to Jen Psaki when she asked him about fierce women. Watch.
There's a pop culture phrase, wife guy, which you've kind of been known as. Are you familiar with this?
I've heard about it.
As called a wife guy, a proud wife guy? How do you feel about that?
So if I do something annoying to Kamala and she gets upset, I'll just show her that article.
Right.
I'll say, I'm trying.
Or a t-shirt or a mug.
Yeah.
There are certainly people, you know who I'm going to ask you about, who are not as comfortable with fierce women, strong women, intelligent women. One of them is, of course, running against the vice president, Donald Trump. He seemed to be uncomfortable on the debate stage, and he sort of amused post that about how people thought this woman did better. He's also refusing to agree to a debate, which she's already agreed to. Do you think he's scared of debating her?
Yes, he should be.
What a tough question. Wow. For the husband of the woman involved. What a tough question. Do you think he's scared of debating her? I really thought he was going to say no. I don't think so.
Yeah. That was a shocker for you.
Shocker.
I know.
Stunned.
I know. It's just so disgusting, too, to watch them try to, Doug Emhoff is reshaping masculinity. No, he's not. He's just not masculine. Like it's not a new definition of masculinity. He's just not masculine.
Right.
In
at
any
all.
way, shape, or form.
In fact, he may be the example of that toxic masculinity you guys keep claiming exists. If he did, in fact, slap his girlfriend, that would be an example. Now, I like to go by my friend Chad Prather's definition of masculinity, which is masculinity in and of itself is not toxic, because if you are toxic, you are not masculine. And if you're masculine, you are not toxic. But
you're masculine, you defend women.
Exactly.
You protect virtue.
Right.
You protect innocence.
Exactly. But if you want to, again, we'll play by their rules. That's toxic masculinity, Jen. You need to call that out, Raggedy Ann. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. Before we do that, I want to remind you guys that we have a big election night special. We're going to be here all night. And can I tell you, please just join us, because we need good company to just watch these returns all night, probably knowing that we're still are not going to have an answer, but we're going to hang out anyway. Okay. So make sure that you go to blazeelection.com/Sarah. You can get $40 off right now over at blazeelection.com. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on. Make sure you don't miss it. blazeelection.com/Sarah. Hey, illegal immigrants are bringing the caravans back. Did you guys know that? The caravans are back in style, apparently. There's a bunch of them heading to the border now. And I want to play a clip of some of them explaining why there is more urgency on their part to get into the country right now. Watch.
Are you guys all following the American election?
Yes.
And how does that play into your decision for the timeline? The timeline.
The elections, because something we don't know what's going to happen after, the elections.
What does he mean?
That they won't allow us to go in, that they, we will get deported or something,
Like by who?
Donald Trump.
El Diablo.
He's the devil.
He's the devil.
He's the devil.
Trump is the devil. Are you all afraid that he might win?
¿Qué tienen miedo ustedes
before you could get in?
Que él gane antes de que nosotros. Yeah, he will let us in.
He won't let us in. You're damn right he won't.
What'd you say?
If Donald Trump wins,
Especialmente los
venezolanos. He's going to deport it, get everybody deported, all the illegals.
Yes, ma'am. You betcha.
So,
We're counting on it.
Get in first. Así que si están tratando de llegar ahorita antes de que caso de que gane Donald Trump. We would like to get there.
So I'm glad that you said that, Jaco. So obviously you do a lot of work down at the border, fighting sex trafficking, and you said that your intel says
floodgates are about to open. They're going to come because they're being messaged by American organizations. Let's not play games here.
Sure,
okay?
NGOs.
$1.3 billion Kamala Harris and Joe Biden gave to Catholic charities. It doesn't mean if you're a Catholic, that's you. The organization Catholic Charities doesn't speak for you. They're an abomination. Catholic Relief Mission, another $1.7 billion. But we couldn't help, hurricane victims. They're telling them, come and come now. You're going to see caravans in November, caravans in December, because they even know that even if he wins, on November 7th, he's president, nothing changes until the 20th of January.
Right.
Watch over Christmas. Watch.
Well, I would say, I don't want them in the country, but optics and messaging wise, from now until the election, if Americans are reminded that this is an open borders policy and this is the result of that, it may drive a couple more people to the polls. Now, again, under the idea that you're all gonna go back. Enjoy your time because you're all going back.
Well, some go back, and that's where I hope this show would help us. We're releasing footage that we were going to do a documentary, and we decided to release the footage now. We're releasing footage tomorrow of a cartel member on camera that tells us they slit women's throats when they're not willing to sell their children for sex.
Oh my gosh.
And if you would run it, we'd run it on your show because Fox won't run it. Fox won't run it. So we'll run it.
Why not?
It's pretty graphic, but they won't run it. But I think we need to run those clips on repeat.
Yes. Yes. Get it to me.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Is this a public commitment to do it?
Hell yeah, it is.
Right, we'll do it. You'll see it here.
Yeah. You've got, this is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's America. Nearly 1 million illegal immigrants are staying in the United States now indefinitely, they say, after their cases were dismissed or closed by DHS because DHS failed to file the necessary documentation.
That number's low.
I agree with you. And that's why when I talked about this issue in the beginning of the show, and they cite this 10 million number, and I'm like, guys, I think it's safe to double that.
Yeah.
If you want to be conservative, safe, start at 15.
It was 10 million when George Bush was in office.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, you mean those already here? Oh, that number is 30 or 40 or 50 million.
Oh, I just mean those who came in the last 4 years.
Close to
20 came in.
Oh,
under
just
this
under.
regime.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure that's true.
Yes.
I'm sure that's true. But for
20 million.
Yes.
For the illegals that were already here, they were using the 11 million number. When I first went to Houston in 2001,
Right.
it was ridiculous then.
Right.
It's insanity now.
Right. Yeah.
And I just read an article this morning that there's another 50,000 people that are congregating and getting ready to get to the border with Mexico right now from all over. Can you imagine how many gangbangers there's going to be in that number?
Amassing in the Darien Gap at the moment. Amassing.
Right
They're
now.
Marching. Yeah.
Right now.
Through
They're
Christmas.
there. Yeah.
They're just watch. They're telling you.
Get the buses, get the vans, get the handcuffs ready, get everything ready, because you're all going back. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you get all the way back home. You're going to go on the other side of the border. We're going to drop you off. We're going to say, have a great day, ma'am. Have a great day, sir. Actually, I should just say sir, because most
Mostly
of them are sirs. And you know how you get home, I don't know. Call an Uber.
No, call the president of Mexico that opened his back door and allowed you to march through his country.
Right. Knowing that you weren't staying there, because if you were staying there, he'd get you the hell out. He's already made that clear. Yeah. By the way, those of you who want to help all of what Jaco is doing down at the border, is it through Jaco Booyens Ministries?
Yeah, helpjbm.org. Yeah.
Helpjbm.org for that, because you guys are doing great work, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. It sounds like. So please go and help him fight the trafficking down at the border. All right, we've got one more quick break here, and we will be right back. So Bill Clinton was out there campaigning alongside Democrat candidate Ruben Gallego. Over in Arizona. Of course, he's running against Kari Lake over there. And I don't know. I don't understand the polls over there in Arizona, but they are what they are over for the Arizona Senate candidate. And Bill Clinton made quite the strange comment while campaigning for him. Watch.
I thought, this is like a beautiful microcosm of the campaign that Kamala Harris is running for president. You got a person that grew up under sometimes challenging circumstances, who made something of his life running against someone who is physically attractive but believes that politics is a performance art.
Wait, what?
And where, like J.D. Vance, she has to be prostate before the master.
What? Has to be prostate before the master?
I think that's a little fantasy coming out of him there. I mean, I want her to do that. I'd like to see that, but
talking about
she's hot.
performance, was there
She's
not
hot.
some performance?
I want to do her. Did I say that? I just want to do her. She's really hot. So
Kari Lake should be right about now. Like, I do not want to kill myself. I am not suicidal. I'm not going to be Hillary Clinton,
Right.
because she's going to be pissed when she hears that.
that was just weird.
That's another race we have to win. Kerry has to
Yeah,
win.
yeah,
Ted
yeah.
Cruz has to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not just Trump's race.
Yeah.
Ted has to win. Kerry
There are
has
several
to
of
win.
those.
Look, he's talking about performance. There was a little bit of performance under the desk when he was president. Political performance. Right? Am I wrong? I mean,
No, you're not.
Well, I bet he found her physically attractive too. So I don't know, but I'm just saying.
watch out,
Hillary
Kerry.
is.
Run for the hills when Grandpa Bill's coming. Turn the other way.
Go and never look back.
Grandpa Joe sniffs and Grandpa Bill performs.